This lesson is part of Media, Mobiles, and Ministry, which is a curriculum set of over 40 lesson plans covering 4 different topic areas: foundations of media ministry, mobile ministry, social media ministry, and do-it-yourself mobile media creation. You can find more information at www.mobmin.org/train. Welcome to DIY Media Lesson Number 7, Mobile Video Production. This lesson is all about shooting video using your mobile device. We give you some app options and demonstrate the most important principles to keep in mind when shooting video. We want you to learn a few key things during this lesson. To learn and apply video production principles to create good quality video footage using your mobile device. Learn how to set up a camera app on your phone to get good quality video footage. You'll also learn some recommended camera apps for video shooting. And you'll understand and apply proper techniques to shoot a simple interview or testimony using a mobile device. So let's get started shooting some video. First, you'll want to set up your camera app. You can use the camera app you've already been using, like the stock camera app that came with your phone. Most camera apps also shoot video, so just go for it. Hit the video button. In previous lessons on still image creation, we've also talked about apps like Open Camera for Android. You can use many apps for both still images and video. And there are some apps that are video specific. That is, they are made to shoot only video footage. An example is Cinema FV5. It works well on both high-end phones or more basic smartphones. Now that you've got your app open, let's set it up for video shooting. And there are some things to check first. One thing to check is the storage on your phone. Video footage takes up much more storage space than any other kind of media. So you want to see if you can clear your photo library or gallery and maybe even delete apps you don't use. If your device allows it, you might also be able to add storage using a memory card. Also, check your battery. Video shooting really drains your battery, so be sure the phone is charged before you go out to shoot your footage. Keep a car charger handy and use it. Maybe you can purchase an external battery pack and a cable. Now, one question people often ask is, how should I hold my phone? For most uses, hold your phone sideways in landscape mode. This is the way most films are shot and presented. And one of my friends says, God made our eyes side by side for a reason. It will make your footage usable in more kinds of projects. However, many people shoot vertically in portrait mode. It's natural for people. Do this if you know you will share your footage only in vertical mode. So for example, stories on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and other services like that, or video messages you share with people on mobile devices. If you don't know how you're going to share it, hold it sideways, horizontal in landscape mode. Just practice doing that. Now you're ready, and let's fire up an app. We'll keep using Open Camera app on Android. If it's still in still camera mode, tap the video icon, and then tap the settings menu icon, the little gear. Some items are specific to video shooting. The first setting we'll check is video resolution. This refers to the basic size of the video frame, how many pixels form the image. And you can see the difference in image sizes here. Most video is presented in full HD, 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels, or 1080 by 1920 in this chart. 4K resolution is becoming much more common, 3840 by 2160 pixels. Be aware that 4K video clips are much larger than full HD clips, so you'll fill your memory much faster. And here's a good tip. Right now, full HD will cover most of what you'll want to do for your ministry with good quality. You can see the video settings button, and then the video resolution menu, and a choice of options. Again, full HD is fine for most things you'll do, and it takes less storage space than 4K. In Open Camera, you can also check the video bit rate. This determines how big the video files will be and the level of quality. Generally, a higher bit rate means higher quality, but it takes up a lot more storage. And 20 to 50 megabits per second, Mbps, is fine quality for most uses. Video frame rate is how many frames are captured each second, and they're set from the same main menu. 24 FPS, or frames per second, is the same as most movies are filmed. Use this if you want a more film-like look. 25 FPS is the frame rate of television shows in most of the world, and this is a good one to use if you don't live in the US. 30 frames per second is the standard in the US and a few other countries. You may also see higher frame rates if your phone is capable, and those are good for shooting slow motion footage, 60 frames a second, 120 frames per second. But we won't go into that detail here. You can also experiment with it if you like. So what about all the other settings? And there's a lot of them in Open Camera. Refer to app help functions and tutorials if you want to dig deeper. Generally, these are the basic settings, and once you set up your camera app for filming, you can leave them alone. Let's look now at image controls. Remember that we want to control what the image looks like, not depend on the automatic functions of the camera. Most of these are the same whether you're shooting still images or video. So on the main screen, be sure you're in video mode. The little film camera icon is active. Your manual controls are set by the little icon with 3 dots in the upper right corner. So first, tap the vertical dots icon, and we'll set focus first. You want to look at the second row of icons to set a focus mode. A is automatic focus. The little flower is for macro focusing, very close to the lens. The lock is a good mode for most shooting. It lets you tap on the screen to set and lock the focus on an object in the scene. The app will normally be in autofocus when you first launch it. The M icon is for manual focus using a slider or other thing if your phone supports that feature. Try the lock or the M icon to start so you know you're in a manual mode. M, manual focus, works in 2 different ways depending on your device. On a higher end phone, it will let you adjust a focus by a slider somehow on the screen. On more basic devices, you can tap to set and lock the focus. And usually the yellow box shows you where you're focusing and what's going to be in focus. Now let's talk about controlling exposure, how bright or dark the scene will be. The little square icon with the plus or minus lets you adjust the exposure of the scene. So tap that box to open a slider that you can move to lighten or darken the scene. Use your finger to slide the control or touch the plus and minus buttons. You just want it to look natural, without super bright areas where you can't see any detail or super dark areas that are just pure black. Click the lock icon next to the square to lock the exposure, and this keeps the brightness of the scene from changing while you're panning the camera around or doing your filming. And the final thing you want to always set is white balance, so the colors in your image are correct. This is set again using the vertical dots icon. Tap the icon and scroll down to the white balance menu. The simplest way to set white balance is to choose a preset that they provide. So incandescent lighting, if your main light is coming from incandescent light bulbs. Fluorescent lighting, if your main light is coming from fluorescent tubes or bulbs. And daylight is best for bright sunlight outdoors. You can test each to see which one looks better and most natural to your eye, and that's the goal, just normal colors. And if it's locked, then the colors won't change during your filming. There are many more professional controls in an app that's designed just for video shooting, and we recommend Cinema FV5, which is a paid app, or Filmic Pro, but that one only works on newer, more powerful devices. You can see our PowerLinks resources for a video tutorial on Cinema FV5 if you'd like. Now that the camera app is set up, let's talk about the shooting process. We'll focus on shooting 2 really useful kinds of videos, a testimony interview and a video about a place or event. To help you practice shooting an interview for a testimony video, we've provided a step-by-step guide in the activity section, and details are in the lesson plan document. You can go ahead and do that now if you'd like, split up, shoot some interviews, and then gather as a group to talk about what you've learned and how it turned out. Or you can do this at the end of the lesson if you'd like. I'll pause here for a moment if you want to stop and do that activity. Another kind of video you might want to create is one that shows an event or a place. Videos like this can celebrate your local culture and open spiritual conversations. So let's talk about how to shoot that. We've also given you a link to a video that's a longer introduction to shooting a place or event video. But here's some pointers. So to tell a good story, you want to do at least a couple of things. One is learn about what you're seeing before you begin to film, so you know what it is you want to film. And you're looking to find the story in the event that you're filming. And when I say story, I want you to think of everything that's happening as if it is a story right in front of you, so you can ask yourself things like, is there a main character in the scene who's doing something? I also want to be sure I give the audience a good view of the setting of the event. Where is this thing happening? As I'm capturing the action of the event from different angles and with creative shots, I want to do a lot of them so I have more footage to work with when I edit. You almost always want more shots when you're editing. Here's a simple way to do that. It's called a 5-shot sequence technique, and it can help you cover an event or an activity with a sequence of shots to help you make a more interesting edited program. There's also a link to this article in the PowerLink section, so you can just look at it on the internet. The idea of this is that you want to try to capture at least 5 different kinds of shots of something you're filming, like someone doing a craft, or a musician, or someone doing their work, for example. Here are some things to try. Get a close-up of the person's hands as they're doing their work. Get a close-up of their face so they can see the emotions while they're doing their work. Get a wide shot of the place where they're working so you can see the setting that they're working in. Shoot an angle we call over the shoulder of the person to see what they're doing in a different way. And then think of some unusual or alternative shot that just makes it visually interesting. If you can do all of those kinds of shots, they really help you when you're editing the scene together. Try not to just stand in one spot and point the camera and then walk away. Okay, we'll wrap up with some final tips to make your video footage look more professional. First, set up your camera properly before you begin to shoot. Learn and practice with those basic video settings, and learn and practice with your camera app image controls before you're filming. Don't try to do this the very first time while you're trying to film something important. Next, hold it steady. Use a tripod or other mounting system, and there are many available that are inexpensive and can hold a smartphone. If it's handheld, use 2 hands and tuck your elbows into your body to support the camera. That's a big help. Also, move the camera slowly as you follow the action or scene so the audience just doesn't get all dizzy. And zoom with your feet, not your camera app. If you want a closer shot, move closer. The digital zoom on your smartphone, pinching with your fingers or something, usually makes the picture lose a lot of quality. And when you're picking a shot to film from, think about where the light is coming from. Keep the light behind you when you're filming, or to the side if possible. Try not to shoot with a bright source of light behind your subject, unless you want them to be in a silhouette. Finally, remember to film longer duration shots. Aim for at least 10 to 15 seconds for each shot as you're filming. Here's another thing. Try to combine 3 shots in one. Begin with a shot of a subject and hold it for at least 10 seconds. While you're still rolling, then pan the camera to a new view and hold that final view for 10 seconds. This will give you 3 different shots when you edit, all from one camera angle. The first shot, the moving shot, and the last shot. That's all for this lesson, and I know it covers a lot. If you did not yet try to shoot a simple interview, you can do that now in your teams. Again, setup and filming steps are in the lesson plan document. After you do filming of an interview, debrief the lesson and interview activity, and you can gather all the groups back together. If you have the technology to project or present some footage from their phones on a screen of some kind, take the time to play at least a few interviews. If you have a very small group, you may be able to just gather around a phone while a team plays back their footage of the interview. Review and discuss the footage and ask what works well in the interview. How does the picture look? How does the audio sound? What might we be able to improve if we had a chance to shoot the interview again? And then you can also open the discussion to answer questions raised by the class content or interview activity. Refer to PowerLink's content as an additional resource. Thank you for participating in this lesson on mobile video production. Video is an important tool for your ministry, and mobile devices can do a great job for you. Be sure to check out the lessons on recording good quality audio and mobile video editing to put all of this great footage together. And thanks for watching.